In this video, we're going to look at how to simplify rational algebraic expressions. So what exactly is a rational algebraic expression? Well, that's just a fancy way of saying polynomial, one polynomial over another polynomial. All right, so one polynomial over another polynomial. So for example, if I have 4xy squared over 7y, that is a rational expression because it's one polynomial over another polynomial. All right, so let's look at how to simplify something like this. And this is pretty simple or simplified already, but we can do a little bit more to it. So we would want to divide, in this case, the numbers by the numbers. So we have 4 over 7. The x's by the x's, but we only have an x on top, so it actually just stays x. And the y's by the y's. So in this case, we have y squared on top, and we have y to the first on the bottom. And remember that when you divide numbers or variables, you subtract the exponents. So we have y to the 2 minus 1, which is just 1. So this is our simplified expression. But we're going to move on to a more fun one that challenges us a little bit more. Okay, so here is another one, and it looks a lot more challenging. I have seen a lot of people make a huge mistake in a question like this, so I'm going to point that out and ask you not to make the same mistake. So people are always like, oh, all I have to do is cancel things that it has in common. And some people are like, hey, I can just go hey, and get rid of those. But that is not true. Do not do that. Don't do that at all. Because those x squared are not factors of the entire expression. So we actually have to factor the expression to see what the factors are. Therefore, when we factor the expression, we can see what we can cancel out. So that's actually the first step if we have something that looks like this. So we always have to check to see if it can be factored. And if it can be, then we do it. We factor the top, we factor the bottom. So at the top, there is a common factor of x. We can take that out. And then we have x minus 2. Now, if this is hard for you and you're not able to factor and you're not following the step, consider checking back my factoring video because that's a really, really important thing to know how to do in this topic. Okay, and at the bottom, we have x squared minus 4, and we can factor that using the difference of 2 squared. So we know that our signs have to be different because we have perfect squares here. And we have x plus 2 and x minus 2. Again, if you're stuck on the factoring, again, just look back at the factoring video. All right, awesome. Once we have everything factored, now we are able to move on to the next step. And now we can cancel our common factors. So that's step 2. So we're canceling common factors. In this case, we have an x minus 2 on top and an x minus 2 at the bottom. We can cancel those. And that leaves us with x on top and x plus 2 at the bottom. It can't be factored any further. There's nothing more in common. As we said before, we are definitely not able to just cross off the x and the x because those are not factors. Those are just terms in this expression. So this is as far as it goes, and we've simplified our expression. All right, let's look at one more that's even more challenging. Okay, so this example is actually requiring a lot from you. This example requires you to remember what we've done in the past few weeks, and that's okay because I think that you do remember. All right, so here we see a negative exponent, and hopefully you recall that a negative exponent takes the thing that is raised to that exponent, so it takes this here, and it pulls it down to the denominator. So we have here that this expression is equal to 3x, so I'm just rewriting the left side. And we're going to take this part of it and move it to the denominator. So we get that that's over 6x squared minus 5x plus 1. And now it's raised to the first power, so I don't even have to put it there because that, moving it down, changed the exponent from negative to positive. Okay, great. Now, what should we do first? Well, always a good idea to start from step 1. And you may recall from the question we just did that step 1 is to factor. So this factoring is a little bit harder, but that's okay. All right, so in the top, is there a common factor? If you said yes, you are correct. The common factor is x. X can go into this, this, and this. However, I'm not going to just take out an x, I'm going to take out a negative x because I want this term to end up positive because that will make my life easier ultimately. So let's take out negative x. So negative x on the outside, and now we're going to divide each of these terms by negative x. So I get, when I divide 3x by negative x, I get negative 3. When I divide negative 5x squared by negative x, I get plus 5x. And finally, when I divide negative 2x to the third by negative x, I get plus 2x squared. All right, that was a handful. I'm going to rewrite the bottom and take care of it later because I just want to do one thing at a time here. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to rewrite the top in a way that we are used to seeing and used to factoring. So I'm rewriting that, and I'm going to order this first, then this, and then that. Ax squared plus bx plus c. That's the way we're used to seeing it. All right, so we have 2x squared plus 5x minus 3 over 6x squared minus, and all I'm doing is rewriting once again. And now we are ready to finish factoring. So these two expressions, this expression at the top has to be factored if possible, and this expression at the bottom has to be factored if possible. If you don't know how to factor these expressions, just try to remember the trial and error method or the diamond box method. So if you don't remember how to factor these expressions, look back at one of those videos because I'm going to do it pretty quickly now. All right, so on the top we have negative x, and when we factor this expression, we get 2x minus 1 times x plus 3. And at the bottom, so we're dividing by, and then now we have to factor this expression. And when we factor this expression, using diamond box or trial and error, we get 3x minus 1 times 2x minus 1. So again, if you don't remember how to factor, just look at one of those videos and you will definitely get it. All right, so at this point, we can remove our common factors. And as you can see, there is a 2x minus 1 on top and a 2x minus 1 at the bottom. So we can factor those out. We can cross those out. And we get negative x times x plus 3 over 3x minus 1. And we're done.